We should be just about live. We are coming to you Tuesday at 7 Eastern Standard Time from Fremont, Ohio. You see Bob Turner on the right hand side. I'm going to jump in here as well. I was just doing a quick frame because Bob and I are just it's just the two of us tonight, and we get to have a conversation, and you guys get to join us too, and so we're excited about that.
Well, speaking of that, let me see. After the show is over, you get the message.
You guys know that we banter about for a few minutes until 7 o'clock rolls, and we've got a few minutes, and I am excited to talk about the journey and to go all the way back to the beginning and follow it up to present day. But we're going to ask you folks questions too. Again, because the two of us, we're going to talk, and then I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to monitor questions. And so we'll just shoot questions while you're in front of the camera here alone.
Feel free to ask any question you want. I'll embarrass Roger whatever way he wants. So you know what I mean? It's a pleasure to have you here, first of all. And thank you, and congratulations on the great success your show is having.
Well, thank you.
I've had the privilege of watching you from its inception in your basement, and then all of the different locations and the places and the people, and it's doing so well, and it's an honor and a privilege of once again to be working with you and the activities. For those that may or may not know, many years ago, and we won't take too much into this at this point, but I had the privilege of working with another haunt location back when it was taboo to, you're doing what? You're going to have a haunted house, and it was an art, it was a craft, and it was not publicly discussed. It had to do with, oh, you're a demonizer, you're a Satanist, you're, in many different ways. But it was used as a charity groups to raise funds for many different organizations, and your particular one was the Lions Club, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I started with some of the JC's chapters, and we used it for the community programs and things of that nature, as well as help me along in my business efforts. So I had the privilege of going to, what was that called? Cleveland's Bloodview, and great artists, great makeup, and that was my take, was the makeup. But what was acceptable on a community standard, and they were on the raw edge at that time. It's like, oh, you can't do that. Well, we're going to do it anyway. And Cleveland had one of the biggest, best for many years. And you and all your fellow group, which is known as Scab 5, participated with that, and I had the pleasure of meeting a lot of great people, and that's how we became involved with each other and activities. So the network, the I call it the give and take of brains, where what are you doing, how are you doing it, how does this work, what have you found to be failure, or what have you found to be successful. So we've had many nightly conversations, not just in October, but of course throughout the entire year with the different places and activities. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one saying it's not what you do, it's who you know that helps you grow. And with that, let's start with some questions.
Yeah, so what, I guess, the problem for those folks who may not know it, Bob and I, and some artists we've known just for a short period of time, but Bob and I, Turners and Millers, have known each other for almost 30 years. And so we were reflecting back right before we pressed the live button and realized that Bob was in his 30s and I was in my 20s when we first
I was 36. We finally figured that one out. And he was barely 30.
Something like that. But so what we do is 7:01. So we're perfect. Right on time.
Yay! That's unusual for me.
And sometimes artists aren't on time, but we are today. Last week, we interviewed Mike Grau. Right. And Mike Grau is a glass artist and an oil painter. And the one thing that I miss is he does great sculpture as well. But last week's interview, for everybody who shared that interview, their names are in this hat. And there's an original piece of artwork that we're going to give away. Mike is at Taz, a glass. I was going to unwrap the glasswork, but it is tight. It is ready to drop in the mail. So
Okay.
I ended up not pulling it out. It's in the car. But we're going to draw the name.
I'm going to draw a
Announce.
name.
You're going to draw the name.
Yeah,
Announce the winner.
Now,
and then,
don't forget, you had to share in order to get into this competition.
Yeah.
So tonight, we want to encourage each and every person on the name of this show again is
Tuesday at 7.
Tuesday at 7. You want to win something for free? F-R, that's backwards for you, E-E, free. Share. Start sharing tonight. I'm going to bring up a lot of fun stuff, probably more than I should. I use a little bit of sexual innuendos. I stretched it just a little bit and call it enhancement. And we're getting ready to pull a nice prize, a very nice prize. So here we go.
Oh, and if you let's pick this one, and then
Okay.
we're going to talk about for those folks who share tonight's
Oh my gosh.
interview.
Just one,
Just
right?
one.
They're all stuck together.
Let's see, we're just one.
Okay, I'm pulling this out. I got one right here. Everybody see this? I am opening it. Oh, it's even got that sticky stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to flip it around. We have the
is
winner.
Tracy Lynn.
Lynn?
Yeah, Tracy Lynn.
L-Y-N-N.
L-Y-N-N. So
Tracy Lynn, I don't know where you're from, but we will tell you we've got your communication identification, and you are a winner of last week's Tuesday at 7.
yeah. So we'll send that glass artwork out to your location. It is packed tight, so it will not break. That's the
Okay.
reason why I didn't bring it in. But if you share tonight's, and again, when you share, there's a little share button. You could share to a group. You could share to your friends list. You could share it to a few individuals. So you could say, this would be entertaining for Susie and Joey and
Well,
Paul.
if you're into, let's take it even a little different step. If you're into a small business and it's a family-run activity, or a brother-sister, or mother-daughter, or anything of that nature, what will be sharing is a combination of many of the things that we have found out in working together. And by the way, I am married, yes. She's actually in the other office area. This is our home. Yeah, we eat, sleep, and live our business, literally, as Roger and Beth both know. And she's watching in the computer on the other side, so we can also get a well-rounded response. But if you like Halloween, if you are doing special events, bands or activities or celebrations or weddings or any number of things, again, I will be happy to share the goods and the bads, the pros, the cons. This is our 31st year of commercial business. Now, a lot of people say, I've been in the business for over 10 years. Yeah, well, how long have you been in business where you're paying commercial tax or matching FICAs or unemployment or state taxes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? I've been doing it in business for 31 years for the Haunted Hydro. Prior to that, I started in 1985 with Turner Enterprise Inc., which is still the company corporation background format, but we actually did not start the Haunted Hydro until 1989 officially, or our first production season. And even that, honestly, was everybody I could kidnap, my friends that would accept me, and we did a haunted walkthrough because I was desperate to find another source of money to fund, because my wife and I in 1988, the year before, had purchased a golf course.
Oh, no, okay, so wait, because I want to dig into this chronology of where you're going, and so everybody who shares, anybody who shares,
Okay,
we're going to
start
give
it
away.
right now. Now, can they share more than once?
They could share more than once. They could share to a group. They could share to their friends list.
Hey, hit the button, baby. Share.
And
because you're going to help me, you're going to help Roger, you're going to help Tuesday at 7, and you're going to help let people know that you are watching some educational material that will benefit you there at home, you on your cell phone, your laptop, your notebook, whatever you're using for media. But that's what it's part about, and that's what we're going to share in the next 45 minutes. And we're not just doing it here in this setting. We're going to take you down to the hydro. So make sure you do that.
If you share, your name will go into the drawing next week, and you'll get a Haunted Hydro T-shirt.
And we're going to have a big package that will go with it.
Oh, so they're going to throw in some other goodies as well.
So if you're within a 3 or 4 hour driving range, well worth the time. And what I tell everybody is like, why would I want to come to the Haunted Hydro? My friends, let me explain it. You do not stay in business unless you're good at something. You go out of business. Kapooey. No money. Yeah. You see this? If you're not good, you don't stay in business. I don't have any money in it, but you get the idea.
All right. So the question, I always start with a question that's unexpected. All right.
Fire away, Roger.
And so the question to start this interview is, I'm asking a non-haunt response.
Okay.
What is one of the craziest things you've done that's not haunt?
Well, my daughter and I went skydiving. Oh, yeah.
And how long ago was that?
About 5 years ago. And we want to go back. Our schedules have not matched up yet, but this might be the year. I have gone multiple times whitewater rafting. I've been to the tanks for skydiving, the wind tunnel tanks, a number of times. I've been bungee jumping off the bridge down in West Virginia, and up in the Smoky Mountains off the top of one of the 9-story jumps a number of times. And
But that airplane jump.
And my last activity that kind of fits into all these, a friend of mine, his name is Rex Damschroeder, Fremont Airport. I love him to death. He was a state representative for the state of Ohio, House of Representatives, twice, and he's held other multiple positions. But he just got a biplane recertified. And last summer, I got to fly it to and from Put-in-Bay and take off of that short little runway at Put-in-Bay. And my daughter was watching. I took off and did a straight aerial shot up. No, I didn't do a belly roll. I wish I could have, but I'm not trained for that.
That's next year.
That's next year. So I enjoy flying. I do have a student license for the last 20 years. I do get to go out on very rare occasions when I have a little money that the wife doesn't know about. And pay for flight time.
So before, it sounds as though long before you opened a haunt or a show that probably you were called Crazy Bob, perhaps.
I'm a little bit about me personally. I grew up in a very unstable economic family situation. A single parent raised me. My father was gone. I had a younger brother, a year and a half younger.
And that was in Tennessee, right?
That was in the great state of Tennessee. I still love the state. It was in Knoxville, major metropolis. And I got started in scouting, Cub Scouting, went through the programs and Weeblos, and then into scouting. I thoroughly enjoyed it because I was able to go camping on the weekends, and there were all kinds of activities which we could not have in our home life with where I grew up. Not that it was terrible, it's just the facts that I had no opportunities within the financial range of our family. So scouting played a big part of my life, and I did get to travel and do a lot of things. I went to the national camp in Philmont. I got to go to 2 national jamborees. I was on staff for the 3rd one. I went to a world European tour and traveled all over Europe for a month and a half. I went to a world jamboree in Japan. I did make eagle, yes. So I had the pleasure of growing up and going through different accomplishments as a young man. And it gave me the preparations to say, don't be afraid to try something once. Well, each time I hiked what was called the Tooth of Time in New Mexico, which is one of the higher locations to hike for those that are under the age of 18. And I had to get special permission from the national division because I was only 14 at the time. And that I was one of the first youngest people to ever hike the Tooth of Time. Um, and I did earn the Great Smoky Mountain Man Award for the Appalachian Trail. So that was North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, and down into the Georgia area. So, which is 110 miles of hiking on the trails, going up and doing it in different segments. So I've always enjoyed challenges. I've enjoyed the water. I used to speed ski when I was much younger. Couldn't do it today. Wouldn't be prudent, no. But I had a lot of fun when I was growing up, which had nothing to do with Halloween. However,
Yes.
to answer your question, and I did a little roundabout on Roger here, what I did do was that we lived out in the country, outside the Knoxville city limits, on a small farm. You can call it a farm. We had a pig, a couple of rabbits, a turkey. We had a horse. We had several other various animals through the course of the farm, and we did have grapes. We had cherry trees. We had apple trees, and we helped with corn in a neighbor's patch and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I was kind of, you got up, you had to do your chores, you had to do the different activities and things of that nature. Well, when Halloween came, we knew all the neighbors, but the neighbors were not just next door because you lived in the small farming area. So you had to get on your bicycles. You didn't walk door to door. You rode your bike from farm to farm to farm, and there was two little roads where they had built like 4 houses on each side. That was called a subdivision for us. Woo, woo. Well, anyway, quick story made short was that if you had to, for Halloween night, if you wanted to have candy, and you rode like the Dickens, and you had to make sure that your coattails or your long gowns and the
Would it get in the bike?
it wouldn't get in the bike chain. It happened. It happened, but you also made sure you had the basket in the front. Yeah, metal basket. Whoever seen metal baskets on bicycles for a teenager? Well, guess what? I did, and I had 2 saddlebags in the back because as fast as I could dump it, I'd go back and say, gosh, I don't have much. And do it again. So I loved Halloween. It was a lot of fun. We made our own costumes. We didn't buy them because those were too expensive at the time, and clown suits and and different things that we did over the years with me and my brother, and we had a lot of fun. And I always loved Halloween because when I was growing up, it wasn't necessarily all about the candy, because when you went to some of your neighbors, you went in and they had hot cider for you, they had popcorn balls, they had little fun different activities that you could do. And some of the neighbors, a few of the neighbors, had little garage areas where they would do a single walk-in dark cloth and reach in and feel the eyeballs, which was peeled grapes. And oh my God, what's this? It's blood. And don't laugh, at that time it was ketchup. Yeah, like Heinz ketchup. Oh, that's ketchup. It's one of those. But you had a lot of fun doing it.
And you remember that because if you're reflecting back to that as maybe the origin of what you're doing now.
It was always a good time.
Yeah.
It was always time that you shared, and you knew, hey, I can't stay here more than 5 minutes because otherwise I lose out on the 3rd street, down the road and different things. But it was always a good thing, and we grew up at the time period. Now, just to let you know, because some of you are saying, well, how long ago was that? I am now gracefully aging at 66, and I feel good about it. I still have great health. I'm able to work and do most anything I want to do. I still enjoy kayaking, so the whitewater rafting is still on the list to do yet. It may come up this year or next year as one last shot with down in the West Virginia whitewater rapids and some of those class 5, maybe 6. We're feeling industrialists, and I can con some people to go with us. But I did enjoy my life growing up, and Halloween did play a factor, not as a commercial thought, just as a fun thing growing up.
Now how about the creative process? So at some point, there was a seed planted, right? Maybe those early years. But I would imagine that if you look back, you could say, well, where did that creative beginning happen? High school,
Well,
middle school?
it actually, I started working, and this goes back before child labor laws and everything else. I started working in a restaurant at the age of 12 doing dishes, to help support the family and do different things. And I know, oh my God, you can't do that. Well, back then, folks, you did whatever you could do to make money. And at the age of 14, I started mowing yards because I wanted a better bicycle so I could go faster to collect the Halloween candy. So, and each time it was always something else. What can I do? Well, I went from the location that I worked, strangely enough, was called Ivanhoe House of Beef. It was owned by a Greek restaurateur who was one of the best in Knoxville. And I went from a dishwasher to a busboy, from a busboy, and at the age of 16, I became one of his youngest waiters to ever work at the location. And I worked there at the age of 16 till I graduated from high school at the age of 18. And then I went to the Hyatt Regency of Knoxville and working as a waiter there while I was going through the University of Tennessee, because of the major difference in the amount of money that you could make in the different locations and things of that nature, and it was close to the campus where I went to my alma mater, University of Tennessee.
So those creative beginnings, you did some theater work, right?
I did. You're going to embarrass me really well here. My mother, I loved, through the scouting, you actually did plays and skits between the different troops at camporees and things of that nature. So I always was pushing for us to win with the different programs, because if you won, you got some patches, or you got a recognition, or every once in a while there was money or different things. So the University of Tennessee actually had a drama department, and they had it for youth acting, where some of the instructors from the college actually taught it, and they used it as an incubator for different activities. And they had one called the Theater in the Round, which is a 360 stage. Most people do not even begin to understand the requirements or the opportunities for entrances and exits and the different formats, because there is no left wing or right wing, and there is no coming from behind the stage. You're in front of the stage 100% of the time. Should you forget a line? Should you need a cue? Should you, there's a whole different ballgame with that. Well, at the age of 13, I started out at the University of Tennessee in the drama department under a wonderful man who has now passed away. His name was Dr. Albert Harris. Phenomenal person, and took you from an incubation period of you were on the floor as a little person, and you were the nut of the tree that has to grow and show its morphosis into creative and acting and activities of that nature. And you did it silently, pantomime. The next time around, you had to verbally do it and do the same creation, the same movement. So it was a complete learning process with the activities. And of course, they also did theater productions 3 times a year for the public and their programs. And that's how they paid for the people to come be participants with it. And you were highly selected to join. It wasn't just a cattle call. It was, you had to do tryouts and become eligible for it.
So let me ask you this question. So when you said theater in the round, you had a stage, and you were potentially surrounded by your audience.
You were
360.
You had 360. Oh. You actually had 4 entrances and exits. Exit up, exit down, exit left, exit right. And in between all of these exits were a pitted, imaginary, just think of a theater, but it's not looking at a one television block view. It's actually 4 views with everybody encompassing a circle. And then it went on to in my 6th grade, and what started it all at the age of 12, I was selected to be. That we did a production for Snow White, and I had a little part in it and enjoyed it and had a great time. And then it was like, I want to try this and do it again. So one thing led to another, and of course scouting was kicking in at that point, and you were trying to get rank and merit badges and all the other, but I wanted to do the fun stuff, and the fun stuff was where I could be creative with acting and talking to people. And at that time I was pretty quick at memorizing lines. It takes a little bit more effort these days, or sometimes it's just off the cuff and it sounds good. So, but yes, I started with that, went through the drama department clubs into high school. And unfortunately, when I did go to the University of Tennessee, I really had to scale back all of my activities and the majority of my participations with the various clubs so that I could earn enough money to get through. I got through 3 years at the University of Tennessee.
So early years, you had that seed, which was a love for Halloween.
Yeah.
You had the theater in the round, the training in theater, and learning what later would be
a big theater.
A big theater in the round, right?
I now have 7.5 acres of theater, which is
yeah.
fun.
And we're gonna have a chance to see that. And what we're gonna do is we're already almost at 7:25, so we're gonna fast forward. We're gonna get in the car. We're gonna drive down there. But I want to talk about some of these things. But before we go there, you get to you get to the University of Tennessee,
right?
And you launch from university to adult life, and then where does that creativity pick back up?
Okay.
Help us bridge to.
Okay, I'll give you the 5-second.
Okay.
Which is really not true. Time and me don't work very well at all, as Roger well knows. In fact, I was running late to get here today. It's a whole different story. Roger, the way it worked was after I left the University of Tennessee, I moved to Jacksonville, Florida. Life-changing situation, meeting different people, the ladies, and having a good time. My father had a heart attack. I had to move back to Tennessee. I met my father for the first time. He had a major corporation in wrecking and demolition. I worked with him for about a year. And at that point, I realized that was just not my calling in my life, and there was too much water under the bridge with that situation. So I moved to Fremont, Ohio, and I started doing construction, which was a labor local 480, doing bricky and tendering and masonry tendering and doing labor work for schools and commercial buildings and things of that nature. It was not residential, it was full-blown commercial programs. And then I did bridge deck work, which is full depth repair with jackhammers and things of that nature. So I got a well-rounded thing. I also then became involved in what's called punch list, where after the job project's over, you would go back and correct anything that's not perfect for the sale or the completion of the job project, which included wiring, plumbing, things of that nature. So I can work with single phase, double phase, 110, 220. I can do plumbing up to 3-inch pipe and solder and brazing and things of that nature. So I became a jack of all trades and pretty much master of none. I did 11 years in the industrial construction. My wife at the time is Beth Turner, still is Beth Turner. We've been married 35 years, and we decided to take a big leap of faith. We had started music as DJs for about 4 years. And how did my entrepreneurial start? Well, back in 1985, I was still doing labor local 480, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, and I wanted a hot tub. So I decided I would buy a big hot tub, mount it on a deck, and use it for me when I needed it, and then rent it out for birthday parties, DJ parties, things of that nature, because I was doing DJs at the local place, one of the local bars.
So you could take play some music.
I made an instant party. And those parties were very famous and still are famous to this day. And there's pictures to prove the
These are
different
legends.
things. So,
Oh,
but we did that for a number of years. We started doing major company corporation picnics and things of that nature, and we wanted to have a place of our own. So there was a local golf course, and in 3.5 years, from 1985 to 1988, I purchased a 77-acre golf course that had a beach swimming area, a banquet hall that would hold, at the time we bought it, it would hold 200 people. We later renovated it to hold 325 people. We did major upgrades. We had commercial volleyball courts, 4 championship sand volleyball courts. We had horseshoe competitions with our own clay pits.
And I remember there was a barn on that property.
There was a maintenance barn for the golf course. We bought the golf course in 1988. I quit my 88 was my magic numbers. I quit the labor local and I went full time for our business. My wife was full time with the business, and we got to the point where it was like, oh my God, golf season in Ohio is only 4.5 months, and you got to make 12 months of payments with all the staff and the seasonal staff you need to keep the clubhouse, and it also had a golf course clubhouse which was separate from the banquet hall. So we kept the clubhouse open year round, and we were still able to do food sales because we had a full liquor license, a perimeter liquor license. We had a liquor license for the banquet hall. So it was a pretty large operation. It took about 25 employees to run the seasonal program year round.
And you were how old? 30s.
I was young 30s.
Young 30s.
Young 30s.
And you bought a golf course.
I bought a golf course.
And
I will tell you, the golf course was $850,000 at the time. So it was a 9-holer that was in decrepit condition, but they had just built a brand new banquet hall 4 years before that, and the family was tired. They were having issues. I took it over and had a lot of fun with it. We started building up our company corporation picnics for Christmas parties, and during June, July, and August, we were up to 40 major corporations from places like Heinz USA, Crown Battery. The list went right on down. Dana Corporation out of Toledo. We brought them in from an hour away with the different programs, and it was highly successful, but we still didn't have enough money.
And Labor Day, things quieted, right?
And so we started looking at what can we do to make additional money. Bob Turner said in 1989, a year after we bought it, we have to figure out how we can lengthen our season. And it's Fremont. Fremont has 28,000 people. It's not a huge demographic. We're agricultural based, and I needed to stretch what we were doing. So we decided to have a walkthrough haunted activity. There were about 15 of my friends. None of us got paid, but I threw the best party they ever had. And rumor was the hot tub was involved. Music and all the friends coming over. But we had 25 acres of just pure woods, so we did a walkthrough in the woods using about 2 acres. We already had parking lots. We had people's names from our golf course connections and things of that nature, but nobody in this area would ever talk about haunted houses. The JCs were well known to have some of it, so we did about 2 to 3 years of our own, and it's like we've got to network with other people, and we built it after the first year. The second year, God, this was good, and don't laugh, we charged $1 a person that first year to go through.
Now, is it true that you went through the barn, or is there a misperception
That first year was just a walkthrough.
Oh, just a walkthrough.
Just a walkthrough in the woods. The second year, I took my maintenance barn, pulled out all the golf course equipment. I mean, literally all the golf course equipment, and we parked it outside, threw tarps in it, and we used the maintenance barn for about 3 years. So we had an inside place. So then we could hook it up to the tractors that we used to mow the golf course with and put them in wagons. And we hauled people in wagons, unloaded them at the top of the barn area, because it was basically a 2-level format. And they had to go through the barn at the top and then go into the dungeon. And the dungeon was a mud floor area. And it was one of those where it's like, folks, I'm bad. I built it out of baling wire, cardboard, scrap pallets, anything I could find that didn't cost money. I went dumpster diving. My wife and I made costuming, and we used different charities. We used the campfire program. We used the Explorer Post for the Sandusky County Explorers. We used the Fremont Community Theater and their actors there. And we used a wide range of different ones in the beginning, and we ended up using for 7 years the JCs from Clyde, Fremont, Woodville, Genoa, and that was the basis that really catapulted us, because the JC program actually started the majority of the early haunted programs.
Now, what was it called back when it was a barn?
It was called, we actually have, and I don't know whether we'll have time to see it or not, but we have a museum. And every year we have showcased all the information, and you can come to our location. There's no charge for it when you are at our facility. And it shows each year with different T-shirts and hats and writings and articles. And I laughed, and just so you know, I'm going to take this one. Hold the picture up right there.
Oh my goodness!
Hold the picture up.
Wait a minute, I gotta
Who's
put
in
my
that?
glasses on. Yeah, this is a young Roger, 1995, no beard.
No beard.
No beard.
This
I'm
is
just
Roger
looking
at a very young
at- You guys
age.
can see this. Oh yeah, there it is. No beard. 1995.
And you want to show
Oh yeah.
early makeup of Roger, folks.
Yeah. Early
I've
makeup.
got pictures and photo proof of it all.
There it is. Early on. So what was it called? It was. Do you have?
It was the we themed it off one year that was one of the more fun ones. It was the Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay.
The barn was known as the Twilight Zone, and as you entered, I stood out front and greeted everybody, and at that particular time, there was in the early 3-4 years, it was not Crazy Bob, it was Hillbilly Bob.
Hillbilly Bob.
Hillbilly Bob.
So
Well, I'm from Tennessee. I'm glad to have you here. But don't worry, we're going to fill you full of cheer. And I'm not talking the liquid kind. Now, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't keep your hands to yourself, we're going to just chop them off. Oh, lordy, lordy, it's going to be more fun than you should have paid for.
you're like the wind-up bunny.
Yeah.
The Ready Bunny.
So the first 4 years was Hillbilly Bob. But we did use that, and each year it grew. It went bigger and bigger. We actually destroyed the golf course one year because the wagons beat trails into the golf course, and the golfers got really upset with me. But we made good money, so I told them, don't worry. I bought a sod cutter. We went out and cut sod out of the backside of the golf course and replaced it at the end of that season, so come spring it would be good.
So there is a transition between the haunted trail, haunted barn, right, Twilight Zone,
Right.
and there was this large building adjacent to your.
Well,
How did that craziness
It kept
start?
growing. We did a haunted woods, and we did the maintenance barn, but we were outgrowing it. My first belief was keep it honest, keep it innovative, and expect the unexpected. Now, I do use 3 icons, and even to this day, I swear by them. I liked Red Skelton. I know some of you have never heard of this because it goes way back into the black and white days of television, but Red Skelton had mirth. Red Skeleton had humor. Red Skeleton could be a little bit dirty, but he was never vulgar. And his innuendos meant a lot that could be acceptable in a normal conversation. The second one that I used was P.T. Barnum. And P.T. Barnum, of course, is the showman of showmen. He used portable tents. He didn't have a Gothic palace. He didn't have world-renowned facades. He had a tent. What he had was class actors, and what he had was a way of presentation that made a difference with what he did and how he did it. And the third one that I like to look at, which I never had the money or the funds to do, but he instilled something in me. And if you go back to read the early days of Walt Disney. Walt actually had to declare bankruptcy 3 times before he got it right. And he also basically had a brother who was a mailman, and the brother literally got to enjoy his wife, his family, and his 2 children because he got to go camping. He had a government type of job, which was wonderful and everything. Walt, on the other hand, thrived on the business. Walt, on the other hand, had creative genius capabilities, and he failed miserably, sadly miserably. And he kept at it in his belief that he could make it happen, it would work, and he had the fortitude to stick with it, and look at what it's become today. You now have 2 of the largest, most successful parks in the United States, still, without question, without any doubt, the biggest, the best. And of course, it's opened up in Europe and in Japan and every place else.
Since it's almost 7:40.
We better run.
So let's run so we can get some light. But so, is there? Maybe we'll end back here. But is there anything really?
Well, I just want to say, I laugh. Everybody's like, "Well, what do you do with makeup?" Folks, I used to enjoy the time putting on makeup because of the demands of being the owner, the operator, having 80 actors on staff, 10 people in the parking lots, 5 people in the ticket booth, and I could go right on down the line with the various people that are the administrators for the program. We have about 100 to 110 people that are part of our program. In addition to that, we have now expanded it. We do group photo shoots. I want you to go to Haunted Hydro Group Photo Shoot. Check it out. If you're a model or a photographer and you're within a driving range, we have 8-hour shoots, and this is our 7th year doing it. Highly successful. You get to use our shots. We also are bordered by the Sandusky River, and I'll answer that one in just a second. But we also have woods, and you are able to have scenes and sets and different things. So when you come, you can work with different models. You can work with different photographers. We charge a minimal fee for you to come in and use our facility. We do those 8 times out of the year, once a month. The coronavirus has killed a lot of the business that you had. We normally do a halfway to Halloween. Couldn't do it this year. We've normally already would have had 3 group photo shoots. Couldn't do it this year. Our next one is coming up this Saturday. That's right, May 30th, 8 to 12. If you are from the Cleveland area, we have people coming from Indiana. We have a few that come from Pennsylvania. A lot that come from Michigan, all over Ohio, a few from Kentucky, and they love what we do. We have the facilities, the activities, and the events, and we run it as more or less a family format. We are doing the coronavirus programs very carefully for social distancing with this one. There is a procedure for checking in and out. And we do have the social distancing with the seating and things of that nature.
And you got all the room, and you're going to be outside, and you've got all kinds of options.
We have nature at its best. Now, what you had led to a minute ago, which I kind of went bypass, what makes the Hydro also different from every other haunted location? I don't care who you are.
No, let's wait on this one.
Okay,
because
you want to show something.
I want you to tell us as we're walking into the building, because there's an aha moment that I experienced back in the 90s when I first went there.
I'll
show and tell.
I own something that you can't make. I own something that you can't build. I own something that's over 100 years old.
And we're going to unplug. We're going to get in the car, and we're going to drive down, and we're going to talk along the way.
Okay.
Let's do that. But which one is the one that's most used? Because I want to take one of these. Yeah. Do me a favor.
Okay.
Just carry that.
Okay.
We're going to unplug here, guys. We're walking.
Do you need to?
I'm going to just lift this over here. Move this over here. We're going to just go.
See that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, guys. Come with us. We're in Fremont, Ohio.
Keys.
We're going to walk out. We're going to drive down the street a few minutes, and we're going to see the Haunted Hydro. As you know, the Tues 87 tries to be fresh, innovative. It is May in 2020. It is almost a 90-degree day, and so we're going right on down. Bob's gonna get in.
I'm driving his car.
All right, I'm gonna choke up on this just a bit. right. Hopefully we don't, we're not, let's see if the radio comes on. Turn the radio off.
Can you see me?
I think so.
Can
yeah.
you see me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh boy,
Yep.
I'm driving Roger Miller's car.
So we're in Fremont, and you're on a house that's just right down the street from your facility, right?
When we lived on the I actually lived on the golf course for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the house was in the middle of the golf course. I know it's a little strange, but I only had to go to work 5 minutes away, and I used a golf cart. So adjacent to the golf course, there was this wonderful opportunity for us to have an addition put on. Now, during this course of years, we had a haunted golf cart trail.
Hey, Bob, put on your seatbelt.
Oh. Sorry about that.
We want to keep you safe.
So we had a haunted golf cart trail, we had a woods trail, we had a wagon ride, we had an 18-hole miniature haunted golf course. We had 7 major attractions total, including a mega maze type program, and in the early years I used an Elm Street design programs where it was commercial haunts that were portable, that could be set up and tore down in 2 to 3 days. Now, do you want me to stop here? Or pull up over there?
You tell me where you wanna.
Well, let's go this way.
Yeah.
I'm driving in the parking lot, which if you look in the direction here, and it's
We're
now
gonna get out of the car and we're gonna have a reveal here, because you owned a golf course, you owned clubhouses, and then you decided you're gonna go bigger.
Well, we purchased additional property next to the golf course, and I'm going to show you a sign where it says, "We are Sandusky County." Hashtag We Are Sandusky County. We just last year, for the state of Ohio, received the highest recognition achievement award for the tourism and convention business. We do haunted hydro, we do photo shoots, we do ghost hunts. And we do ghost hunts because our building's over 100 years old, and I'm going to kind of turn around here just a little bit and show you something. You see, folks, that strange looking pyramid wall supported program right there is a 1910 hydroelectric.
Why don't you just turn off right here?
Okay.
Let's step out of here.
Okay. So, you know, boys and girls, let it never be said you don't take advantage of a good thing. I did. We had the golf course for 17 years.
And that golf course, if you kind of point to the direction.
This is the golf course adjacent. There's 72 acres to it. It is now a county park program. And then if you look kind of like from the trees up that direction, and you just do a panoramic coming back this way.
Okay.
This is our current main parking area, and then we go down to the overflow in the additional parking areas. But what we have here is our entrance for the Haunted Hydro Dark Attraction Park. Now, the Haunted Hydro Dark Attraction Park is a 1910 hydroelectric power plant. What's on the other side of this brown fence is the Sandusky River. So, again, one of those things that happened is that we needed to expand, we needed to grow, and those portable units are anywhere from $60,000 to $150,000 just to purchase portable units. I wanted something we could build that had its own character, something we could create and work with. So we're going to take you this way, because I know we're running out of time.
Yeah, so Bob, let me give you, we've got about 50 people live right now.
Hi, everybody.
Got a whole bunch of people on here. We got some familiar names. Michelle Sinclair just said, "Oh, don't forget people in California come all the way to the Haunted Hydro just to be scared."
And they do. And we appreciate and love everybody. And our reason for success is not about me. I still say have had the privilege of working with so many great people from all the different haunts and the owners. We finally got started at Transworld, and we want to give a big shout out to Jennifer Thaler at Transworld, saying thank you for believing in our industry. Folks, if you ever get the chance, go to St. Louis Transworld. We're hoping maybe Midwest Haunters Convention will still happen in this pandemic situation, but all I can tell you is that keep your eyes posted. Transworld, see what's going to happen with Midwest Haunters Convention. But because of good people like that, we were able to do different things. I'm kind of taking you behind the scenes real quickly because everybody's like, well, we never get to see anything. Well, it isn't always about what you see, it's what about you perceive. And we're going to go in a couple of different things.
So we're outside. You guys may hear the river.
We have two major attractions here. We have the Haunted Hydro, which is a building used to produce electricity in 1910 to 1945. After that, it was decommissioned. It went through several different owners. And in 1993, Bob Turner bought it, paid it off in 95, and that is the catalyst of what we are so well known for.
So the river would flow. It would turn turbines.
We're gonna take you down
okay.
so you can see, because everybody's like, well,
what is it all about, right?
What's it all about? So we've got all of our sets. We have an outside venue that takes approximately 15 minutes to go through. It takes about 15 minutes to go through the Haunted Hydro. In addition to that, we now have 4 escape rooms that are 5-minute format escape rooms. They're not the hour-long ones. We do not do those throughout the year. They are only done at different fairs and festivals and at this particular location. But to give you an idea, this is the river, the Sandusky River, right here. We do our photo shoots here. We also do activities here. During season, the walleye run comes up, and we let fishermen use the property. So it's all part of the activities.
And excuse me if this is a little Blair Witch, because we're handheld and we're just on the move. And so upstream, now is there a dam? Is that dam still there? Or do they?
No, the dam was here up until 2 years ago, and Bob Turner convinced the mayor we're going to have a dam farewell party. That's right. Crazy Bob hosted it for the city of Fremont because they took out the dam. It was condemned, had to have it completely removed. So that was a quarter of a mile up. Now, when it came down, it actually was in 16-foot tubes and went into our hydro location. And I'm trying to speed up my activities because I know you want to go see that. But in other words, this goes right on out. We have different various pop-outs and activities, but we change our theme up about 80 to 90% every year with our event. Last year was my 30th year celebration. We went all out. We changed everything 100% last year. So this year we're not going to change as much because of the pandemic situation, knowing that we are not able to work together with volunteers, and there is no doubt in my mind that everybody wants a hydro, in my case the hydro family, we want to keep them safe. So we have had literally no social situations and activities. Normally we go to the movie theaters as a group and watch a scary movie. We will have a bike activity. We have a camp out. Memorial Day, we normally would have had 40 to 60 people here camping out doing different things that we do. Maybe a few medicinal beverages, things of that nature. We're going to take you right this way.
So this is, we are on the outside.
This is called the Woods.
I'm dragging behind you on purpose here, Bob.
Yeah, this is called the Woods, and that's what we're doing with the format. But there's about 30 to 35 people that man this portion, and 30 to 35 actors that man the other portion. That does not include the support people with the different activities. We are known for expect the unexpected. We do have blood and guts. I would call it medium gore in our particular case. Our staff are hired. They go through major intensive training. If they don't come up to the speed of the makeup, because they have to create their own makeup, they have to create their own costumes, that way they can never be found at another haunted house. We don't have Freddy's or mummies or Frankensteins or anything of that nature, ever. So, we're going to run you right through here.
Sorry for the Blair Witch effect, but we are on the move.
I just have to show you a couple of things that I laugh and look at. But,
and of course, during the day is completely different than lit up and at night, right?
Over here, Roger. And you know, our scenes, our sets are a little different, but you have things that are floating, and if you stick it over there, floating tip top so that the monsters rise up and down. Welcome to hell. A guest. Our format is attract, distract, and scare. Attack, distract, and scare. And we have various, can be a voodoo one year, the next year it's a zombie format. We change it up so that it's exciting, so that people never know what's really coming at them. Okay, we're going to take you over to the real quick building, because I know we're running out of time.
And we're going to take some questions near the end, so if you have them, we're going to scroll up and get to those as well. Thank you guys for watching.
Okay. We do erect big tents for our queue lines, especially being outside. We don't want the weather to affect the people. Don't laugh, but in the state of Ohio, you have to be very specific with how you do your activities. They're called permanent membrane structures, not tents. You have to have fire suppression and things of that nature under different conditions.
So what year is this vehicle?
Oh my God, I don't know. I've got a bunch of these things. There's one. One that we got from my good friend Kelly and Nina Collins, who used to own the Midwest Haunters Convention, and they had the Scaratorium in Columbus. This was their old vehicle that Crazy Bob just had to acquire.
There you
This is
go.
one of my loves. This is a 1999 ambulance, perfect in every condition. And of course, Crazy Bob has to say hi to you, you know, whenever we're driving around and having a good time. We do about 17 major parades. We are extremely heavy in guerrilla marketing, but we also push commercially hard with the digital media. Now, something that we just got 2 weeks ago, and I'll show you this side, because this is a P.T. Barnum original organ truck.
And if you were talking about how P.T. Barnum was one of those icons that was an influence and a...
And if you come on this side, you get to see a little better one.
Oh, wow.
We're going to be restoring this. This is one of my projects, and don't laugh, but folks, you want to be included with an activity, we're going to start a GoFundMe, and I'm going to make this thing by October look like brand new.
However, if somebody wants to be photographed with this, that they have the photo shoots that they
What
can...
we are doing this Saturday, you get a progressive photo shoot. So as it is reconditioned and refabricated, and that includes all the gingerbread, all these facades will be completely removed, but we will have the original concept. It was owned by P.T. Barnum. It then went to Lynx Circus, and then it went to a local where it says Dan Slack Musical Rentals. And it had a full official pipe organ inside of here, and it would be played as it went down the road. The pipe organ is no longer here, of course, but we do know where it's located. In the museum that it's in, it's still in pristine condition. It is runnable. We are going to slowly but surely put this thing back to life. Again, it's a big boy toy, and Bob wants to have a big boy toy. When we do different things and activities, if you kind of flip over here, I'll kind of give you a quick scenario, folks. Crazy Bob's Shirt Shack and Gift Shop. We have two gift shops right there. Haunted Hydro's Ghouls Gallery, Dark Art Photo Exhibit. Well, because we have the photo shoots, we are now having this one right here is a 48-foot semi, and it has photography by all the models and different people that want to get it on the road and to show it. And it also is now being sold, and we're developing the digital sale for that. It's taken us 7 years to do it, but we now have a mobile gallery. On the other side of that one is another one. There's a second semi there. The second semi housed our 30th year anniversary, and we had something from every time of the 30 years from the very beginning up until last year, and it showed all the different, including the different times we've had celebrities. We've had Alice Cooper himself here signing autographs 2 different times. We've had Jason Voorhees, actors. We've had Texas Chainsaw Massacres, 2 of the 3. We have had Buff Bagwell from WWF. We've had Patrick Stewart.
You had the Scab 5?
I've had the Scab 5. Yes, I have.
All right, now come here, Bob. Can we get up on this cart for just a moment?
Sure.
Because what I want to do is, you've shown us a few things here, and back at the house, you had said you had talked about some of those folks that inspired you, right? It was Red Skelton,
Right. Walt Disney,
P.T. Barnum,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And the other one that actually was a heavy favorite of mine was Alfred Hitchcock. The third gentleman knew how to give scares without doing massive blood and guts. You know, in his creeper that continues even to this day and age was, oh my God, the shower scene where the nude girl was there and the knife comes up and but it never showed anything. You saw blood splatter, but you never saw real bullets and real knives and real wounds. Now, I'm not saying I'm a purist or I'm a prude. I'm simply saying that man was able to capture the attention of the audience, and you could hear a pin drop. That's when you know you're doing something right. When I see people walking in here, I want to hear 2 things. I want to hear them belly laughing about somebody that got scared and maybe lost a little bodily function, or I want to hear them say, this was so good, we got to tell our friends, or we got to come back, or we got to do this. And that's what it's all about. Now, this thing that you see here, this is a people mover. When we have to go from our main lot to the back lot, which happens about the 3rd, 4th, and 5th week of October, we have 2 of these that we pull on a regular basis so that we can shuttle them and the people don't have to walk. But of course, while they're doing it, we entertain them with one of our lovelies or one of our scaries, etc., etc.
So here's my question, and you've piqued my curiosity. I've known you and Beth and have been here at your haunted hydro for years. We left the house and you were Hillbilly Bob, and you spoke with us about your inspirations, right? And all of a sudden, as you decided to move the golf course and the activities in your haunted barn this property here was not part of the golf course. You decided to add on to it, and open the doors, and along the way birthed Crazy Bob. Not Hillbilly Bob, but Crazy Bob. What was that process?
After the 4th year, Hillbilly Bob was fun.
Okay.
But I wanted to razzle dazzle. I wanted to put the showmanship in it. I really wanted a totally different concept from P.T. Barnum. I didn't want a suit from the circus. Now, the circus truck is actually going to be a lot of fun, and it will add to the touch for our insanity clowns and different things of that nature. But I wanted something all of my own. I wanted a creation that you can't find, because I don't want to replicate something that somebody else is already doing. I want to take it and be the part of it. Crazy Bob was part of that format, but I didn't have my own identity. Everybody's a hillbilly. Everybody's this or everybody's that. So I decided to create my own character. It's a diamond-studded tie. When you saw it, that we grabbed the.
And we're going to look at that as we end our interview.
It was an after 6 tux, actually, that a big band did in the 40s, 50s, and 60s when orchestral bands were big and things of that nature. I bought a band. The band folded, and I bought all their costumes and all their suits, but they were all after 6s and beautiful, beautiful stuff, and they've held up very well. And I found one that just said, "This is you." So it became Crazy Bob.
You're the barker. You're the.
I am the greeter for everybody that comes in. In the 30 years, this past year I was gone 2 nights. Year before that I was gone 1 night. After that, I have never failed to be at the front door greeting people and working magic. It is also for security, because at that point I have 35 people behind me that people will meet and greet, and I did it originally as a safety check. I am going to see and read your eyes. I'm going to read your composition, your makeup, your talent, or are you drunk? Are you being stupid? Are you aggressive? You know, I read it so that I know what my people are getting into, because I want them to be safe. I want them to have the knowledge. So it's a combination of a total 100% business, because if you give me any doubt or give me any question, I'm going to push you to the limit at the front door. And I do a very good job of it. I also have security that's right there. I have an observer that handles the radios and the communications. I even carry personal communications. So there's a situation where the park is interdispersed. When you have 100+ staff, and you will have upwards of 1,000+ to 1,500, or even better nights as it has been for the last couple of years, and anything prior to 9/11 was phenomenal. We have seen continued money, but when you had the bubble burst and housing went down the tubes and people were having to do foreclosures and things of that nature, this was a really, really tough business. My wife and I are both at the position right now. After 30 years, we were going to put it up for sale. We started a soft sale with it. We initially had a buyer, but unfortunately they came down with, it was a husband-wife type format. The wife got stage 4 cancer diagnosed, and
I'm sorry.
We are back on the market at this point. But until then, Bob is still going to be here. Bob is going to keep running it the way I have. We enjoy what we do. We have a fantastic, dedicated crew. My park manager now has been with me. This is the 3rd park manager I've had in 30 years. He has been with me now 4 years. He's been an actor for me for 10. And he is phenomenal with the details and the dedication to getting people up to haunted expectations and great characters and great makeup. We now are Hollywood famous with our makeup and the qualities. Not everybody. It's a learning curve. Some people get it, some people don't. Some people don't have the money to buy the makeup that is required to do those fabulous jobs. And it really takes anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to get your makeup on to do a 5 to 7 hour show. And by the time you finish that, you've done an 8-hour day, you know. And that's why we succeeded in a small agricultural based community, but we draw heavily from Toledo and from Cleveland as well, and all the small cities around us. So we also choose not to do it as a cattle call. What you see over here on the other side, we have there's 2 building fixtures that are 5-minute escape rooms. That used to be our gift shop, and we've moved the gift shop, and we have 2. It's either a double escape room or a single escape room, meaning it's a 10-minute one or a 5-minute one. And then we have portable trailers where we take them to various locations, fairs, festivals. We are the major sponsor for the Toledo Zombie Crawl. Hey, I want you to check that out. Toledo Zombie Crawl. It's on Adams Street. Adams Street Zombie Crawl. We had 15,000 people there last year. Read my lips. 15,000 people there. Crazy Bob was the host. It is fantastic. Don't miss it. I'm doing a shout out to Zach up there at Manhattan's restaurant. I'm telling you what, folks, don't miss it. There's 8 bars. They close off all the streets. They have great security. Toledo does it properly. There's plenty of porta-johns as well as places to go. In costume, out of costume, you're accepted. They have 5 major stages of DJs doing the activities. And this year, everything goes good, the Haunted Hydro is going to be there with activities and events, which we were last year, and an escape room. And this year, we're taking up all kinds of great stuff, and we're going to be the highlight of the shows for live performances with their programs for Halloween enthusiasts.
Well, I mean, you do such a great job at promoting your team and saying thank you and recognizing those folks. But I want to talk a little more about Bob, and that is 30-some years. First of all, just a very short time as Hillbilly Bob, then to Crazy Bob. We found out who your inspirations were, right? And all of a sudden, you buy a hydroelectric plant. You had all
everybody should buy a hydroelectric
plant that's over 100 years old. Well, I mean, it was 100 years at the time, but almost, right?
Yeah, it was almost, yeah.
Almost 100 years at the time. Yeah. You had all those skills so that you could then start to patch, fix, open, run electric,
Yeah.
make sure this place was ready for open. You had the education with the theater in the round, learning how to act for people in a 360-degree stage, and then all of a sudden, you open up the show and you're doing
360.
theater in the round, 360. You're harkening back to your icons, and you create a character that has seen hundreds of thousands of people over 30 years, and that's quite an accomplishment.
It is. I want to say a big shout out before we leave the air. Thank you to my wife, Beth Turner, who has put up with my craziness and our activities. We have experimented in several different directions. We also did a medieval fantasy fair for 4 years, but when I sold the golf course, we had to give that up because the 25 acres that was woods, which we had a theater in the mud, we had a jousting field, we hired national talents, but we had to give up that concept. So, you don't know unless you give it a hard try. And to everybody who's out there, I want to encourage you, have belief in it, do your homework, study, look at the finances. I did stuff backwards just like everybody else. I did stuff that I shouldn't have done when I didn't have enough money to do it. But you have to give it a gamble. You have to try. I just bought a Carnival truck.
For those of you who didn't see it before, your Carnival truck, right?
Yep. And that's going to be a parade promotional piece. That's going to tie together some people. I'm really looking for people, for about 50 people that's interested in doing a $150 activity with it for a GoFundMe. I'm going to throw a big party for it when we get it finished, and then everybody gets to ride in it and do some different things. Watch the news, see what we're going to do. This is going to be coming out in the next month. I was waiting till the pandemic was over, or when social media had started to crack. And it is cracking for the state of Ohio. Thank you, Governor DeWine, for opening up the gates. And we want to say, these are things that you can't find at another location. And it wasn't just a truck that was created. This is a piece of antiquity. This is something I want to see go and make a difference.
Yeah.
And let's run before I'm going to bring you over here so we can go even a little further.
And so, Bob, we're going. You know what? Come back here just for a moment,
Okay.
because let me just scroll. Actually, I'm gonna have you stand here.
Okay.
Just scroll, because we have a couple questions.
Okay.
Oh, for those of you who have shared, your name will go into the drawing next week for a T-shirt, and
The
they're gonna
T-shirt's nothing. You're going to get a group of 4 for tickets to come do the escape rooms and to do our woods and to do the haunted hydro, a 1910 hydroelectric power plant. By the way, we also have, as you saw on the bulletin boards, we have paranormal groups are welcome to come. So if you're in a paranormal group, give us a call, 419-307-9627, or go to our website, www.hauntedhydro.com. There's numbers there, there's links there, anything that you really need. Hey, we're here for the people. And how did we grow this? We grew it one person at a time.
And there's a lot of people who are already sharing. There's haunters from all over the state, all over the country. We have folks that are saying Bob's parties are wild, right? We already knew that. And there was a couple of people commenting about the coffin in your other room, and Beth is answering. So we have your Beth and my Beth who are answering questions.
And by the way, where we were sitting in that room, there was a black coffin. If you looked in the background, there was a black coffin. Now that's at the house, because we just finished doing a heavy maintenance to it. That is by the Loyal Order of Oddfellows from 1890 to 1911. We've had it for about 20 years. It is a full skeleton inside. Yeah, you're right. It's a museum piece. And we have, I think there's 14 flags from the Loyal Order religious ceremony. And it was kind of like the Shriners. It's a Masonic type group. And we have the backdrops. We have the stanchions and everything with the lighted candle format in it. We are going to sell that.
Ooh.
And I want to use that money also towards my truck. So if you are interested in something that is one of a kind, something that you can't find anywhere else, if you do, God bless you, because it's hard to find them. They are gone forever. There is still some organizations in England that are known as that format, but you can find my skeleton, the style of the coffin. You can see the original flags as part of this program, and they are available for $10,000. And I'm using it to further my work here at the Heart. So I'll send you some. Maybe you can throw some pictures up or something.
Yeah, we had a question here. What would it take for somebody to act or work at the Haunted Hydro?
Well, we have a VIP program. Mm-hmm. If you want to be an actor, you have to come down. You'd have to watch an hour video because we can't just put you in any place. We will put you with a professional actor that has confidence and can assist with training. If you are interested in participation, you must be 18 or above.
Okay.
If you come down and you're under the age of 18, a parent has to come with you. They do not have to act, but they have to be here on site because of medical and liability issues. And we do not hire anybody under the age of 18. You can be a guest actor on a regular basis, but we are not into child labor hiring.
We, Andrea said, I wish they had hit the haunted hoopty still. Right? Was that a car that you smashed? Was that what it was?
We have raised over $140,000 for charities. I'm very proud to say we do give back to the communities. That's also one of the reasons why we got recognized as one of the ambassadors for the state of Ohio. We've received the House of Representatives Certificate of Recommendation 3 or 4 different times. We've got a key to the city, but we do give back to SPA, to animal cruelty. We have done the Toledo Autism School. We have done, and it goes right on down the list. Hit the Haunted Hoopty is where we gave you a sledgehammer, pair of eyeglasses, pair of gloves, and for $1 a hit, you can beat the crap out of it. And literally, for $20, you can beat it as long as you can hold the sledgehammer in your hand. We broke windows with it and things of that nature. The windows were a little more pricey. We did that for about 15 years. We have now changed some of that activities. It was one of the most beloved things where if you were with a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband and wife and you really wanted to show something, well, we let you do that.
You can smash a car, right?
We do have other events here and activities. We are a Relay for Life major sponsor for the last number of years. I think we've raised close to $10,000 for that program. And for 17 years, while it was still active in this area, I was privileged to work with Tony Stutz and a number of other people who were for Make-A-Wish. That was the one that was near and dear to my heart. We received, at the end of 17 years, when the chapter decided to close here in this Sandusky County area, we were recognized as being one of the godfathers of the program. So,
well, and well deserved. You guys have put a lot of effort. You have served the community. You've done some amazing things. I know your staff consider you family. We have comments here. Matt Pollard says, this man taught me everything I know about makeup, scare tactics, character development.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Bob. You're an amazing person. We've got a bunch of people sharing. Thomas McKenzie, miss you, Bob. Hope you get back this year. Of course, Jennifer Hartley, which we know forever.
And Jennifer, we hope everything goes well with your upcoming operation.
The Millers are praying for you. Man, there's all kinds of people out here that are just commenting. You've really made a difference. But right now, as we're kind of turning the corner, because we got a little bit of a glimpse before, we're going to see the haunted hydroelectric plant.
Yeah.
And we're going to see, sort of the outside and a quick pass by. Then we'll go back to the car and we'll end the interview. How does that sound?
If you come right on down here, we have an observation point on top. We've had some, at one time we did fire flaming work up on top where you see that little pillbox.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing, where it says exit right there, that is a big circle. That big circle is the water tube that came from the dam. So that was a 1/4 mile up, and as it came down to the dam right here, this is where it went in. This big kind of yellowish white structure with the support walls, that's 3 foot thick concrete, and that was called the water holding cell. So it's an open, there is no roof on that portion of it. It was filled with water. And that last section that you see there was called turbo pits. It's a turbo where water went down a 16 to 20 foot depth, and then it went out the brick building out to the Sandusky River. So the water came in here, it went, and at that time, folks, 1910, a lot of the work was done by mules and trains and things of that nature, packed. It had what's called worm knuckles, and if you imagine these as two sprockets, one is vertical and the other one is horizontal, but they turned and went interchanging. It had worm knuckles, and the shaft went in there, and in the brick building, and as you can see those arched areas, that was actually full windows.
Oh.
So it was windows all the way around. The generators, there was 3 generators in there, and then they had an emergency service generator. So if they had to shut down the main plant, the emergency generator would still keep electric in the plant for them to do maintenance or change the formats out and things of that nature. It has been completely stripped. It has had a 6-inch concrete floor put on top. The walls and everything have, the roof has a vulcanized liner on it. So we know that it's established. Of course, it has all brand new electric and things of that nature in order for us to be commercially. We have a capacity code that we have to abide by the state of Ohio. I get inspected by the fire marshal on a regular basis. I have a local fire inspector that comes and checks us 2 times a year. Tim Crow, if you're out there, buddy, I love you, and thank you for helping me be a winning location. In fact, for many, many years, they bring inspectors from the other regions, and they come down and they use us as the guinea pig. So it keeps me on my toes.
Let's walk up to the exit door. We're gonna peek in just with this key. You don't need to get. I'm just gonna stick this right in. We can peek right through the hole, and walk us around to the front, and then we'll step back to the. So, we got a peek hole.
We got a peek hole. You realize that if you show anything really important, Roger, I will have to bury you at the hydro.
Yeah, and I would imagine that there's rumor that there had been folks in the walls of this. Am I right?
There is, without doubt. I want to say a shout out to Grizzly, who is one of the best DJs, rock DJs of Northwest Ohio. Tom Brown, Tom Munson is his name, and Tom has his hip bone buried in there.
Is that right?
Yep, he had to go through catastrophic surgery. By the way, what does a portable escape room look like? Something like that, right there.
So you just pick this up and drive it, and you can take your escape room elsewhere, huh?
You got 5 minutes to find the clues. 5 clues, 5 minutes, $5. And then we upgraded. We decided that, well, the next step that you want, you have the portable stalls. Well, no, it's not portable stalls. What it is our theme of what can happen and what might not happen, but what you hope doesn't happen right here. We also have photo sets and shoots, as you can see behind you, with different things set up.
So folks can come in and do selfies and take photos with...
And win for group photo shoots. That way you can be individualized and set up with different activities, different events.
King and Queen.
And to answer the questions going back, if somebody does want to come and participate and they have previous acting, we can take them. It is based upon the number of nights that you want to participate. If you want to come and do a family program, we can do that with the restrictions of what we are. It is high startalization. It is long work. We average 5 to 7 hours a night, just like any other regular haunted house. For those that notify us in advance, we do have 2 RV trailers that we let you stay in overnight if you if you want to be a part of our activities. The central office for on location is the brown building. We have several more semis back here, and these semis are the props trailers. We also have a makeup station that will do 40 people at one time. Now we have three major entrances. You're on the back side of the hydro, but what you see here, again, is another 40 by 40 tent. We can expand it to 40 by 60, depending on what we need to do. But these are all enclosed queue line type formats. A lot of times, and if you flip it right around, we even have bleacher seating for our staff so that we can talk to them, train them during the off-season times, because we usually do a 3-day fear camp, which if you want to be part of our staff, you have to go through the fear camp, or you have to have extracurricular events that we recognize as
equivalent training,
equivalent
right?
to the knowledge.
So this door here, walk us up to this door real quick, and how many folks would you guess have walked through this door?
Well,
Like just a guess.
All I can tell you is that when you do it for 30 years, and at one time we used to open up for 26 nights. We no longer do that. We average 15 to 16 nights per season. We've reduced that number because, again, there's a profitability night. We need to do at least 800 people to be profitable. So that gives you the idea of it. Our average ticket price is $25, which includes both major attractions and one escape trailer. And then you can upgrade to different things for that. You can also do a VIP fast line. And this is not the backside. We change the opening and the entrances because we have three major entrances. We actually had to cut a 3-foot thick concrete wall and put in an entrance so that we passed fire code back in 2005, so that we had no issues with that situation. We do have our own maintenance building and garage. My pride and joy is being finished up a 1956 Cadillac hearse, which will eventually get done maybe by October. Since I have the circus wagon, I don't know. So that's where we're at, folks. I wish I had more time. It's just not fair. But again, I want to say thank you to Tuesday at 7. I want to say thank you to Beth Turner, and also there's another Beth that is back there supporting you as well. Hi, Bethy. I'll share a drink with you when we get the chance.
Now we have the Millers. We've got a large family, but I'm married to a Beth, and I also have a daughter, Caitlin, and so we share that in common as well.
And my daughter's name is Caitlin as well. So, and actually, when your children were born, I brought baby outfits.
We have a onesie that says "No Fear."
That's right.
And signed. Actually, Alice Cooper signed that onesie while he was wearing it.
That's right. That's why I kind of laugh, and it's like, so it goes back. You reap the rewards of various good people we've seen and had the pleasure. I want to say a shout out to Eddie McLaurin, Tony Wilgemuth, Brett Molitar, and it goes right on down the list. Great people that are icon people that helped me. For 11 years, I was on the IAHA, International Association of Haunted Attractions, and we, once again, those are things that you do. There's another one.
And this is another one?
1969.
1969 with the big, gumball on the top?
Yep.
Wow.
And the association was our first step to legitimize the haunt industry. It has gone through several evolutions, and there's been other great people. Patrick Kiewatowski, hey. I could go right on down the thing and say thank you to everybody, but all I can tell you is it's been wonderful. It's been great, and we have to go back around.
Go back around? That's right. We're gonna go back around because if you have any questions, we have just a few minutes to ask, and we're gonna walk. Yeah, we're gonna walk, and so hopefully, if you're watching on a 70-inch flat screen TV, hopefully you're not getting sick. We're walking. I've got the camera on a tripod here. And you can hear the river in the background, which is a lovely sound.
Yeah. And at night, it's perfect because when it's perfect, the fog rolls right off of the river.
I love these enclosed areas. Somebody said you...
That's a Crazy Bob moment for you. Hello, hello, hello. It's Crazy Bob coming to you live from Sandusky County. That's right, Fremont, Ohio. And we are year 31 of operations, and don't miss your chance. Come one, come all. No big, too small, too little, or, oh, does it not like having a little Halloween spirit? Come on, let's go get it in the car and run back.
Well, for somebody who's been turning it off and on for 30 years, Bob, you have it down. But that persona is one that you can bounce in and out of. I know that you've done probably events such as, I mean, didn't you do some announcing for events, and I believe, did you also do some auctioneering too?
I have done, I am not a professional holder for auctions, but I have done lay auctions for charities and special events and fundraisers, and especially for Make-A-Wish. With those activities, I've had the pleasure of working with many radio personalities and television newscasters and things of that nature. For almost 20 plus years, I hosted Christmas parades, and one of the highlights was the bicentennial for Ohio. That was a 3.5-hour parade. I've never been in a parade that big before, but I hosted it with the introductions and the commentary for the programs, and that was really from the DJ work and activities. And I have a privileged relationship with many people from Fox 36, from Cumulus Broadcasting, and some of the others. So again,
so we have the Honda Hydro in the background. So Bob, come back over here for just a moment. So this haunt is
up for sale. If you are interested in purchasing it, I'll do a shameless plug, folks. The property alone, value-wise, is $225,000. Cut and dried, it can be sold to the county park. I would like to see it stay a haunted event. For $225,000 more, you get everything as a turnkey operation, including the history and the backlog, and can be arranged to help us. So for $450,000, you want something, you want to have fun with it, I encourage you to give us a call and a holler.
But Bob, even if the hydro sells, what's the plans for Crazy Bob? Because the character isn't tied to a location.
I will assist with the transaction to go from either an iconic situation to another one, where they create their own and have fun with it, or whatever the case may be. Or Crazy Bob could come back and say, hello, 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 boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, you need to be a part of this. You get in your car, you come right on down in October. It's going to get bigger and better every year. We've got more things and more fun than you should be allowed by law. Hello, 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 come on down now. Let me tell you what it's all about. It's about Halloween. It's about the spirit of fun and fear put together right here, done safe and sound. And for 31 years, including 2020, screw that pandemic, screw that. We're going to have it one way or the other. Probably will be time tickets, may have to do the social distancing, and, there may be a thing where I can't come up and do that to you. No, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. But I will tell you, you got to get on the schedule. You got to keep an eye open, because Halloween is not going to go away. We are not going to go away. And we have been here for 3 generations of people attending the hydro, and it gives me the great heart. And it also goes out to all my staff, once again, to the Haunted Hydro staff, past, present, and the future. Thank you, thank you, thank you on behalf of Beth and Bob Turner.
You are certainly P.T. Barnum and Walt Disney.
No!
And Red Skelton. I'll put it into one. Bob, we thank you for offering 30-some years of craziness, and being a great spokesperson for actors, for business, and for philanthropic
and
causes.
As Red Skeleton would say, may God bless.